Look, I think they've shown what they can deliver on the big stage, whether it was the T20 World Cup, in the 50 over World Cup as well. See, one thing I can be very clear of, I think both those guys have got a lot of cricket left in them. And more importantly, with Champions Trophy and a big tour of Australia, obviously they would be motivated enough because, and then hopefully if they can keep their fitness, 2027 World Cup as well. But this is a very personal decision. I can't say how much cricket is left in them. Ultimately, it's up to them as well. It's up to the players. How much can they contribute in the team's success? Because ultimately, it's the team that is important. But looking at what Virat and Rohit can deliver, I think they still have a lot of cricket, and they're still world-class players. And obviously, any team would want to have both of them for as long as possible.
I didn't quite hear the question properly. I heard. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Rishabh's been out for a long time now. We need to get him back playing. That's the first thing. He's going to be a key to us as a player. Hasn't had a lot of cricket, so we've seen what he can do in international cricket. He's won Test series almost off his own bat, so we want him back playing. I think that's the first thing. You don't want to burden somebody again who's just coming back after over a year out of the game. KL, look, I mean, KL's not been part of T20 now for a little while. Again, like I said, you look at some of the feedback that you get. We've got a chance to reset the button a little bit. We've got a bit more time to plan. You want to try and see. I mean, this time T20, frankly, when Hardik did get injured, was a little bit of a challenge. At that point, Rohit wasn't playing. And Rohit was still around, made our life a lot easier that he could come and lead. We don't want that situation going forward again. Shubman's the guy that we feel again as he's a 3-format player, firstly, and seems to show a lot more qualities over the last year or so that we hear from the dressing room, and that's why we want to try and have somebody who can also learn from a couple of the senior guys that are there, Surya in this instance or Rohit who's still around. So we don't face the same challenges as suddenly trying to look for a captain in case there are injuries or loss of form somewhere. So that's the idea. Again, he's shown some decent leadership qualities, and we want to try and get him the experience that he can going forward, and that's the thought. There are no guarantees in life, but at this point, that's the thought.
I have one question each for Ajit and Gautam. Ajit, Rishabh Pant, ever since his return, he's mainly played T20 cricket. So, how did you weigh his performance, or how did you take a call of leaving Sanju Samson out of ODIs and playing Pant as the second wicketkeeper for the first? And for Gautam, you're someone who's advocated for players to consistently play all matches instead of picking and choosing. So going forward, how do you look forward to managing the likes of, say, Rohit, Kohli, or even Bumrah, who often tend to manage their workloads and miss out on assignments?
Look, I've said it before that workload management for someone like Jasprit Bumrah is important. But for a batter, if they can play consistently, if they're in good form, might as well just play all the games. And with now Rohit and Virat not playing T20 cricket, they only have 2 formats to look after. So I'm sure they're going to be available for most of the games. But yes, for Jasprit Bumrah, because he's one rare kind of a bowler which anyone would want, so it's our responsibility to try and have him fresh for most of the important games. That's why workload management, not only for Jasprit Bumrah, but for most of the fast bowlers, becomes really, really important.
With regards to Rishabh, I mean, before his unfortunate accident, I mean, he's been a key player for us. So now that he's back, like I said, you want to get him around the group again, playing again. So KL's been terrific in one-day cricket. We've seen he had a great World Cup as well. So yeah, unfortunately, someone had to miss out, and in this instance, it was Sanju. Look, these guys will have to keep getting runs, keep performing. Otherwise, there is another quality player waiting. Big test season coming up. We obviously feel these two will have a huge role to play. and to get Rishabh playing again, just he's like you said, he's only played T20 cricket. To get him 50 over will be another step forward. Hopefully, he can keep building on what he's done so far.
Thank you. See, this is going to be the crux of the support stuff. But then, as I said, that we still have 1 month after the Sri Lanka tour. Obviously, we'll try and finalize after the Sri Lanka tour. But importantly, yes, I've worked with people like Ryan. I've worked with Abhishek very closely in last 2 months, especially during the IPL. So obviously enjoyed working with them. Absolute thorough professionals, both Ryan and Abhishek. Hopefully, they can have a really successful stint with the Indian team. There can't be a bigger, better opportunity. I think so. Hopefully, we can have a successful tenure as coaches, and really looking forward to working with the rest of the other guys as well. I've had some really good feedback from the players about the other guys as well. So really looking forward to working with most of them.
What are the learnings from your mentorship of actually LSC and KKR that you want to apply in coaching career? Or like how vast is coaching as compared to being a mentor?
My experience or my learning has been very simple. In a sport, it's all about winning. So I don't deviate from something like that, because we are in a profession where ultimately there can only be one winner. And we try and play fair, we try and play hard, and more importantly, we try and come back in a winning dressing room and a happy dressing room. And a happy dressing room is a winning dressing room. So very simple. See, I think I don't like complicating things. That's the kind of profession I'm in. And hopefully we can continue that way. Ultimately, it's the players' team. Support staff is there to try and maximize and try and get the maximum out of their potential, make them express the way they want to, give them a lot of freedom, and more importantly, try and make them happy as well, because sometimes international cricket can be tough, can be insecure as well, because only 15 can play, but more importantly, it's the job of the support staff to try and keep them in a happy space, and that is going to be one thing which we definitely will be working forward.
My question is for Hardik and are you looking to have or planning to have specialized teams for all different formats? And is Surya's name being discussed for ODI against
Sorry, specialized, I didn't.
Are you looking to have or planning to have specialized teams for all three different formats? And is Surya's name discussed for the ODI?
See, eventually going forward, these things happen. Like, for example, Virat and Rohit and Ravindra is not there in T20. So it will happen. But can't say right now that there are going to be 3 different teams. I think T20 will obviously go through a transition with 3 seriously good players, world-class players, retiring from T20 format. But yes, in 50 overs and Test cricket, I'm sure I think the more consistent we can be, the better it is going to be. The more players who can play both the formats, it is always better for any team. So that's my opinion. I think Chairman can give his opinion. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I think on the same page, really. I mean, you don't decide having 3 different teams. If you got players who can play all 3 formats, then you include them, yeah, because that means they're quality players. So it's just to try and find the best balance for the format that you're playing. Whether that means it's the same players across 3 formats or different, it's just what works for the team at this point. You can already see, I mean, there are enough players who are good enough to play all 3 formats, and that's the case. You just, I don't think anything's pre-decided. Eventually, you try and pick the best 15.
Sorry? Surya and ODI.
No, we haven't discussed Surya at this point. In ODI, we've, Shreyas is back, KL is back. They've had great World Cups. Rishabh is back as well. So there is some real quality through that middle order. So no, I think at this point, Surya is a T20 player.
Take last few questions. Yeah.
Have you had discussions who would like most of the test regulars to play at least one game?
Philip Trophy.
Well, I haven't discussed with Gautam yet. This is the first time we've met, so we've had a few conversations. But we will look. It's not always easy, but there will certainly be enough players out of that squad that are likely to play that first game at least, because that's the only game that they can really play, that Duleep Trophy game. So we'll probably sit down and discuss which guys really need to play, and it's always nice just for the competition as well. If all your top players come and play, it's not always easy with such a packed and a long season. So it's sometimes tough for the players to, if they have a week off somewhere, to make them do that. But we'll try and see what we can do, and there will be certainly some players out of that squad that will be playing.
Last two questions.
Gautam bhai, I think you spoke about support staff. I think we report what you had requested BCCI specifically. Who are they? Who are we going into? Like,
No.
I mean, Abhishek Nayak and what role will be playing?
No, really happy with BCCI. They've agreed to most of the things what I've asked for. So I was surprised when I was reading all those news. But yes, as I just mentioned before, I think the crux of the support staff will remain what it is right now. But then we will finalize once the Sri Lanka tour is over. Yes, Abhishek as assistant coach, Ryan Tendishkate as assistant coach. I personally feel, I think there could be assistant coaches who can probably involve themselves more in all the three departments rather than just focusing on one. And that is the reason why we now have two assistant coaches as well. And that is the way we're going to go forward as well. But yes, you'll get to know the exact support staff once the Sri Lanka tour is over.
And for Sri Lanka, who are we?
Yeah, Abhishek Nair is there, Sairaj Bautule is there, Dilip is there, and Ryan Tendishkate is going to join in Colombo.
Gautam, this is an obvious question that about Virat Kohli. You had a quite a history with Virat. Both of you are playing for the country, playing in the country, and shared a good dressing room, and you said country dressing room. But still, there is a history. Cameras have captured. They cannot be visited as.
Yeah, good for the TRP, but my relationship is not public. What kind of a relationship do I share with Virat Kohli? I think it's between two mature individuals. On the field, everyone has got the right, I've said it many times before, everyone has got the right to fight for their own team, for their own jersey, and want to come back in a winning dressing room. But at the moment, I think we're representing India and representing 140 crore Indians, and I'm sure we're going to be on the same page and try and make India proud. And I share a very good relationship of the field, and we'll continue to do that. But yes, to make it more public that what kind of a relationship, I think it's between two individuals.
You had a chat with him.
I've had a lot of chats with him, but sometimes, sorry?
After your appointment.
No, we shared messages. I think it's not important what we discuss, how many chats have I had with him after my announcement or before my announcement or during the games, after the game. I think sometimes just because we want headlines, it's not important. Right now, the most important thing right now is that we both are going to be working extremely hard to make India proud, and that's our job. He's a thorough professional, he's a world-class athlete, he's a world-class player. I've always said that. I've had huge respect for him as a player, and it's going to continue that way. And hopefully we can work together really well.
Absolute final question.
Have you had any discussion? I think this question is good. Have you had any discussion with if there's only
So,
have you had any discussions with the both of us during
Test ruling and
any update on where the opportunity stands?
I mean, again, like I said, I've met him for the first time. We'll sit down and have a few chats, but you more or less know who your guys are. There are a few injuries at the moment. Some of the guys, some of the fast bowlers are at the NCA. We hope that over the next month or so, they'll be back up playing. Where Shami is at, I think he started to bowl, which is a good sign for us. And what it's 19th September is the first test. That was always the goal. If he can, around then, if he can get fit. We don't quite know whether that's the timeline at the moment. I'll have to speak to the guys at the NCA. But that's the aim. But yeah, I mean that is a discussion because there's so many tests coming in India. Maybe you don't play three guys in the 11, three seamers in the 11. But going forward, there's a lot of cricket or test cricket that's coming there. So we'll need some depth. I mean, Bumrah, Siraj, Shami have been around for a while, which are the obvious ones. But we'll need some depth, and there'll be some conversations around it. But we've got some talent, and hopefully we've got a lot of first class cricket coming up. So you can build guys up, and we'll have to get to have a look at some of the other guys as well. So that's a conversation we'll start having now.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank
Just
you.
have one photo. Yeah.
Oh.
No, you can stand.
I think Gigi's photo, yeah.
You and me.